Hi everyone, hope you're doing alright, I hope you're keeping safe and I hope you're keeping sane. Very firstly, I want to just say thank you to everyone who's commented, liked the last couple of videos since I've made a bit of a reappearance here on YouTube. It really is appreciated. It's so nice to read so many positive comments from people who are either giving up or in the process of going into abstinence or have had quite a successful period of abstinence, and also those people who tell me that my videos have played some beneficial part in that, and so that really is great to hear, and thank you very, very much for your ongoing support. On the off chance it's the first of my videos that you've seen, my name's Phil, I'm a recovering compulsive gambler, and I've got hundreds of videos all about my experiences and the little bits of advice maybe or tips that I've picked up along the way. So if that might be of interest to you, then do hit that subscribe button, maybe like the video, help it reach a few more people, and yeah, you're very welcome here, and thank you very much for joining me today. Now, I've spoken a couple of times recently that I'm going to do a book review of Alan Carr's Easy Way to Stop Gambling, and that's effectively what this video is. I have tried to keep it quite short and interesting. My last couple of attempts at recording this video have waffled a little bit, as is my way, as anyone who's been around for a while might have realised. But what I want to do alongside reviewing this book, as I'm not a sort of God-given book reviewer, is firstly start off with a little bit of my own experience and how this ties in with the advice in this book. Initially I put a caveat on and say, look, obviously I'm reading this, I read it towards the tail end of last year, just before I sort of hung my YouTube hat up for a bit. So I did read it a little bit sort of after the fact, but I do think that there is a lot of very helpful information in there. It's all about adjusting the way of thinking when it comes to abstinence, when it comes to recovery, and when it comes to start making that decision to quit something in the first instance. So let me tell you a little bit about myself. As of New Year, I've decided that I want to cut down on my drinking. Everyone who has followed the channel for a while knows I do quite enjoy a beer, and particularly once I started working from home starting a couple of years ago, I found that my alcohol consumption increased, and the reason being primarily is because my main social outlet became the pub. I wasn't seeing people in the office anymore because I was working from home, so I finished work, went to the pub, had a few pints, came home, and I found that my alcohol consumption increased exponentially. So I've made the decision that I want to stop drinking so much. But here's the big mental issue, of course. If I think, right, today I'm not going to drink, what's the first thing that happens? Now, this is obviously only me speaking for me, but I'm sure there'll be an awful lot of people who can echo this sentiment. If you decide that you're not going to have any beer today, what's the first thing you think of? Well, in my mind, it's a nice cold pint, isn't it? It's not even a fairly lukewarm rubbish pint. It's always the best pint you've ever had. The first thing that comes into your head is that best, coldest, crispest pint of Stella sat on a beer garden bench in the height of summer. Beautiful. Now, that completely disregards the fact that actually most pints that you drink are, yeah, they're all right, they're quite nice, and that the weather outside at the moment is particularly cold and horrible. But your brain disregards that because the first thing you think of is a positive memory associated with that behaviour. And gambling is exactly the same. When I decided that I wanted to quit gambling, not need as I always say, but wanted to quit gambling, my brain would tell me that I can't do it. My brain would tell me that I wouldn't be able to go the rest of my life without gambling. Sure, maybe I could do a week or so. But what about all those happy gambling memories? What about those poker games with friends? What about those times when you go out with your mates and you all chuck a fiver in and bet on some football, or you have a couple of quid each in the fruit machine and you get your jackpot and you pay for your beer, and all these happy memories that you associate with the action of gambling? Now, what I will say very quickly on that second part there is that not only are these happy gambling memories really massively outnumbered by the negative gambling memories, which for some reason your brain doesn't choose to conjure up when you make the decision to stop, but also that most of the happy gambling memories, and I would include happy drinking memories, probably the same with recreational drug taking or anything else, is that the positive parts of that memory are based on some factors other than the addictive or harmful behaviour to which you're associating it. For example, those fun times playing poker. Now, I'm sure a lot of that would have been more around, in fact, I was surrounded by my mates. We were having a laugh, we were playing a game, bit of banter, bit of competition, not the actual gambling element itself. Same as the time in the pub when you put a couple of quid in and you win the jackpot and you pay for your beer, You could pay for your own beer. It wouldn't have made much difference really on the grand scheme of your night out. But your brain associates that behaviour with the whole positive experience rather than actually isolating it for what it is. And like I say, these positive experiences are often massively, massively outweighed by the negative, which is why you're here. Okay. Now, this book is kind of about changing that mindset. I will say that the best thing you can do is read it. Because it really is worth the read. And as with all methods, as with all strategies for abstinence, recovery, for quitting something for the first time, different things work for different people. I've spoken about GA in the past on this video. I've spoken about other things that I don't believe were particularly or are particularly beneficial to me in terms of achieving and maintaining a successful recovery from gambling. However, there can be absolutely no denial that Gamblers Anonymous, GA, has saved hundreds and thousands of lives, both in terms of lives going down the wrong path, but also actual physical lives, because we know that one of the biggest and most serious outcomes from gambling addiction is, of course, people taking their own lives. So I would say, even if you think something may not work for you, and even if I on one of these videos say, well, it didn't really work for me, or I wasn't a fan for XYZ reasons, then try it. So the best thing you can do, regardless of what I say on this video, and regardless of whether you think it'll be useful, is buy this book. If I remember, I'll put a link in the description, but it won't be an affiliate link, so don't worry about buying it through that. Just go to Amazon or whatever. Find out wherever you can find it cheapest. I'm not getting any benefit off of this, so find it wherever you can find it cheapest and buy it, but give it a good read. Because if nothing else, it's an interesting read. And it will make some points that ring very true with you. And like I say, the whole basis of this book is changing your mindset from associating gambling and, like I say, other negative behaviours with a pleasurable experience to actually looking at the pleasurable experience you'll get from abstinence and from recovery and all the benefits that this will bring to you. Whenever we quit something, and I touched upon this in my New Year's resolution video, whenever we quit something, we really feel like we're giving something up. We're giving up those good times with friends. Like I say, when I said I was going to stop gambling, I felt I was giving up, and I had to actively struggle to not want to go and have that cold beer, to not go and have those fun times with my friends that I felt I'd be missing out on. You focus on what you're giving up, which ultimately means your recovery is so much more destined to failure than if you can actually flip that mindset, and this is what Alan Carr talks about, to looking at the positives you will gain, the positives you will achieve from your abstinence and from your recovery. Now, with gambling, I found that was just a significantly more stable financial life. I wasn't immediately wealthy or affluent, and still am not, but I have a more stable financial life. I have fewer mood swings, I have more time, I have better relationships with friends and family and with my wife. And these are all positive reasons for your recovery and for your abstinence. But in many, many attempts gone by, and dare I say in parts of this recovery, I have focused on what I'm giving up. I mean, realistically, if we can put it into context, we're not giving up that much. Again, I've spoken before, when we have an addiction, when we have a compulsion, and when we have problematic behaviour, we provide this particular form of dopamine supply. We give far, far too much power to these behaviours. We allow gambling, drinking, smoking, recreational drugs, sex, porn, whatever. We allow these behaviours, these products, these chemicals, these whatever, we allow them far too much of an influence on our lives. Now, if we look as gamblers at those around us, we look at, in my instance, all the people in the pub who don't play the fruit machines, all the people who are watching the football who haven't got a belt in it. And what are they doing? Well, they're enjoying what they're doing just as much as you may be, probably more so, because they can relax and they can enjoy the surroundings. They don't give the flashing box in the corner of the pub with all the lights on it, they don't give that a second thought. They may be aware it's there, but that's about the extent of it. They may see the gambling adverts on the TV, but not give them a second thought. They may notice that there's a new online casino being advertised on a football shirt. Think, oh, I wonder what that is, but then not give it a second thought. As addicts, we give far too many second, third and fourth thoughts to these particular things. We give gambling such a significant inroad to our lives and give it far more power than it deserves to have. And in the book, Alan Carr talks about not actively forcing yourself from partaking in dangerous and addictive processes and substances, but instead merely distancing yourselves from them and just making it not part of your life anymore. Now, I probably explained that terribly badly, and what I will say is that yes, I think it's a fascinating book, and would I say it would work for me as purely as a change of mindset? I don't know. And if you are at the moment in the early stages of recovery, I would still very, very strongly recommend keeping blocks in place, putting blocks in place, changing your behaviours, doing all the stuff that I bang on about time after time after time, because you want your recovery to have the best possible chances, at least in the short to medium term, until your behaviours and your habits change over time, But give the book a read. That's the long and the short of it. Give the book a read. It's well worth it. It's about £6 or £7, something like that. And whether or not you can use that as a template for a change in your own lifestyle and your own behaviours, or whether indeed you just pick up little bits and pieces from it that may be useful at some point in your recovery, it's definitely worth a read. I'm not sure I rambled any less in this video than I intended to, so my apologies, but thank you for sticking with it this far if you have indeed done so. And I'll catch you on the next one. I hope you keep safe, I hope you keep insane, and look after yourselves. All the best, everyone.